A few years ago, I bought a pair of Bose Soundsport wireless headphones. At the time, these were the most high-end headphones I'd ever bought, but the sound quality, at least in my ear, was incredible. But then in 2019, I started taking the Underground to work, and suddenly needed something to reduce the deafening rattle from the London Underground trains. After a lot of research, I decided that the AirPods Pro were the best solution for me. It was the best all-around earbud available at the time. The sound was only good, but the overall physical size and design more than made up for it. The small size of the case meant that it could easily be slipped into a pocket, the tiny one on the side of jeans to be specific, because who uses that for anything else? The earbuds themselves were so small and seems to be the only pair designed to fit a human ear. On one trip to Germany, I actually slept with them playing white noise so that I could sleep despite the snoring of my roommate. Then in 2020, I heard that Bose was about to announce a noise-cancelling version of the already on-sale Bose Soundsport True Wireless. Having been totally happy with my now 3-year-old Soundsport, I sold my AirPods and eagerly awaited the release. And then they came out, and boy was I disappointed. First of all, the case was enormous, much bigger than the AirPods case, and in my opinion, completely unnecessary as it doesn't even give you extra battery life. There is no way I'm putting that in my pocket. It does have wireless charging, and the bottom of the case is flat, making me think that this was designed to be kept at home instead of being taken out. But if that was the intention, then why have one of the best noise cancellation systems out there? I found another YouTube video, linked below, which shows a teardown of the case, and of course, most of it is just empty space. What a very poor design by Bose. Not only that, but they put in this ridiculous opening mechanism which is super hard to press. Other cases are simply held shut with magnets. This button doesn't just need to be pressed, it needs to be pressed in a long way before the top clicks open. Pairing was also a pain. It just didn't do what the instructions said it should do. The button inside the case appeared to do absolutely nothing. It's only then I realized the case might be completely dead. So after charging for a few hours, I tried again, and this time it worked, but only after a few rounds of opening the case, closing the case, pressing the button, and so on and so on. My wife was horrified with how complicated it was, and remarked that if I hadn't been there to do it, she would have sent it straight back. Updating was a pain. As soon as the earbuds were paired, the app asked to update the firmware. A process that took ages and afterwards seemed to have reduced the functionality. The noise cancellation adjustment, which was on the home page of the app, was gone, being replaced with some kind of scene selector, so the main use for the app for me was now gone. Why bother install the app at all then? After doing this whole review, I looked for explanations online and found one. One of my favorite headphone reviewers on YouTube, Aaron is Loud and Wireless, link below, reviewed the update and confirmed that the ANC slider had been replaced by a mode selector and that the noise cancellation had been affected. I have concerns with the practice of manufacturers making products worse after you have bought them and potentially after the return period has lapsed. This seems unethical to me, and I wonder if consumers have any legal redress if this happens to them. The controls are so difficult to use. For the life of me, I can't understand why anybody wants touch controls on earphones. Any touch or near touch caused the music to stop and the Google Assistant to activate. Following the instructions to turn the volume up and down by sliding a finger up and down on the right earbud did nothing, except activate the Google Assistant sometimes. Despite all of this, my wife agreed to try it out for 24 hours. She said she experienced pain to her earlobe after an hour of use, something she never experienced with the Soundsport, despite their similar design. If we look closely at the earbuds, the actual part that transmits the sound is the same, but the fin on the QC earbuds are surprisingly a lot smaller. Now compare this to the experience she had with the AirPods, which aren't even designed for Android. She took them out of the box, opened the case, went to Bluetooth pairing menu, it was there, hit pair, and that was it, the end. She then decided to try these for a day and afterwards remarked how easy they were to use, how much smaller they were, both the case and the earbud, and how easy it was to turn the noise cancellation on and off. A very happy experience overall. I can't do a video like this without talking a bit about the sound because after all that's probably the most important thing for most people. These are the 5 songs I tested with. Now before I get into my impressions, I want to emphasize that everyone's hearing is different, and even one person's hearing is different on different days, so take any subjective sound test with a large grain of salt. I also want to state that all 3 of these earphones sound good on their own and will more than satisfy most people. The Bose QC earbuds excelled in clarity at all frequencies. It could be argued that the Bose QC has overemphasized highs, as they were very loud. Mids were a little recessed, as per usual for Bose, and I found this took away from the music. Surprisingly, the bass sounded lacking both in volume and extension, but it was extremely clear and controlled. The AirPods surprised me by reproducing more bass than the Bose QC. The bass was only slightly more muddy, but the increased volume made up for it by adding a lot of punch. The raised low frequency response extended into the lower mids, creating a warmer sound than either Bose pair. The highs were neither as pronounced nor as clean as the Bose, but not by much. My old Soundsport reproduced sound with almost as much clarity as the QC, but with a much better tonal balance than the newer model. Bass clarity was better than the AirPods, but not as loud as the AirPods bass. The slightly cooler Bose sound profile made them sound cleaner overall. All three of these sound good, but they also sound very different. Surprisingly, I preferred the sound of my original Soundsport the best. It was a close call between these and the QC buds, which would have won if they had a little more bass response. I didn't hear any sibilance, something that I am particularly susceptible to, from any of these earphones. The AirPods also sound extremely good, especially for those who prefer a warmer signature. If I had to buy a pair today for commuting, the AirPods would still be the best choice due to excelling in so many other ways and coming very close behind in sound quality.